We know this Colts team is a good football team, but it's something different when you beat a team like the Chiefs. I know the Chiefs are 5-5, and as long as they have 15 at quarterback, you're going against a good football team. They've looked a little bit human, I guess, the last 2 weeks in terms of just their pass protection ability to hold up against the blitz. They're not this run-first football team. They want to come out, hit you with the pass early and often, get that lead, and once they get that, it's all Jonathan Taylor from there. If a team can run the ball exceptionally well, I think they have a good chance against this Colts team, but will the Chiefs come out and commit to the run? I do think a lot of Colts fans are kind of underrating how difficult a matchup this is.
In today's video, I have an awesome conversation about this upcoming battle between the Colts and the Chiefs with the lead analyst of Colts on SI, as well as the co-host of Locked On Colts, Zach Hicks, and he's very honest in his assessment of the Colts' strengths, weaknesses, and what the Chiefs could try and do to exploit them. Regardless, this game will not be easy, and you'll see exactly why coming up next. But first, how about those? All right, Zach, you talk about your team every single day. It's the week now. Indianapolis Colts against the Kansas City Chiefs. I don't know how high you were on the team heading into the season, but they weren't on my list of like, hey, if you look at who's going to be at the top of the AFC after 10 weeks, they just weren't there. Great pieces. I just was unsure about Anthony Richardson and obviously Daniel Jones as well. But man, what a season you guys have been having. You're coming off of a bye week. You're getting rested. The Chiefs are coming off of a tough loss to a division opponent in the Broncos. 5-5. You guys are 8-2. How are you feeling about your team coming off the bye? Because you've had some interesting things happen with your team too. Daniel Jones with turnovers, some injuries as well. Let's talk about your offense first and how you're just kind of seeing the state of the roster coming out of the bye.
Yeah, the offense has been clicking this year. I mean, if you look by almost every single metric, they're a top 10 passing offense. They're the number one rushing offense and essentially every single metric. One of the best in terms of EPA per play that we've ever seen in terms of EPA per play. It's like more than double the next best rushing offense in football. And that's without them really having that quarterback run element that we see from a lot of teams, like from the Lamar Jackson-led teams, the Josh Allen-led teams. So what they've been able to do on offense this year has been phenomenal. You know, they've looked a little bit human, I guess, the last 2 weeks in terms of just their pass protection ability to hold up against the blitz. Daniel Jones finally starting to take some sacks, and we're seeing that sack number regress a little bit back to what his typical career numbers are. But even with that, they still scored 31 points against the Atlanta Falcons. They still scored 20 in a game where they had 6 turnovers against the Pittsburgh Steelers. So they do find ways to put points on the board regardless. They're, I think, one of the only teams in football this year to have 20 in every single game. They're averaging 32 points per game this year. So the offense, it's just been a well-oiled machine for a good part of this season. And they attack you in so many different ways. I think really the biggest difference between the perception and what they really are is they're not this run-first football team. They have a great rushing attack, but they start with the pass game. The passing game sets up the run. Unlike what we think of traditional football where you run early to set up the pass, they want to come out, hit you with the pass early and often, get that lead. And once they get that, it's all Jonathan Taylor from there. So it's worked for a majority of the games this year, and the couple times it hasn't, it's really just because turnovers have derailed them early. So they are prone to some issues, but for the most part, this is one of the best machines in the league, what they have on offense, and they just have been methodical about how they attack teams with so many different mouths to feed on that offense.
Yeah, Daniel Jones, I think he's thriving there. There's a lot of weapons, and when I was kind of just looking at them and revisiting your schedule, looking at some of the games, I mean, Tyler Warren is incredible. I actually compared his stats to Travis Kelce's, and it's like the Spider-Man meme right now. Almost the exact same targets, receptions, yards, touchdowns. Obviously, Warren's at the beginning of his career, Kelce's on the tail end, but both playing at a very high level. And I think that's done some great things for your offense. But it also scares me because if you want to talk about where the Chiefs defense has been vulnerable, it would be tight ends and linebackers and coverage on tight ends. Like, that is a scary matchup for me, is seeing Drew Tranquill or Nick Bolton somehow matched up on Tyler Warren. That's frightening. Jonathan Taylor is a name that Chiefs fans, they love but hate at the same time because he's a really good player. The Chiefs obviously had the opportunity to draft him back in 2020. They didn't. We don't need to go down that rabbit trail, but it's just like you see Jonathan Taylor balling out, and then you have the Chiefs with a run game that is really struggling. Pacheco's out. I don't know if he's going to play this week, but they're not a run-first team. However, there are Chiefs fans like me that would just like a bit more of a dynamic playmaker in the backfield, and you guys have the guy. I looked up his stats. He has like 1,100 yards through 10 games, which is insane because in the Mahomes era, he's never had a running back rush for 1,000 yards. And Jonathan Taylor's done that in 10 games. So the way you guys can complement, it's like really just quality, complementary football. Jonathan Taylor having an MVP level season. I don't know how many games he's had with 3 touchdowns, but it has to be like 3 at least. I mean, just
I think it's
how
like
many
4.
is it? Do you know?
Yeah.
4.
I think it's 4. 3 or 4.
Right.
Yeah.
That was
insane.
Disrespectful of me. I apologize. But just what he's able to do and the weapons you have, whether it's Alec Pierce, Michael Pittman Jr. I mean, there's just so many options. I'll ask you this. If you're heading into this game and looking at the teams and the matchups with Spags, how he likes to just switch looks in the secondary, pre-snap, post-snap, try to be creative and a little sneaky in how he likes to go about things. Is there any concerns when you look at the Chiefs defense going up against the Colts offense, maybe even just because of recent weeks with like the turnover and sack issues that Daniel Jones has been having? And before I get to Zach's answer here, there's still time to get out to a game at Arrowhead Stadium to watch the Chiefs play. It is one of the greatest experiences in all the world, and that's why I got to give the sponsor of today's video, SeatGeek, a huge shout out because, of course, that's where I get my tickets. They are the #1 rated ticketing app for a reason, after all, with over 35 million downloads and more than 70,000 events listed on their site and app. Honestly, I love their app. It's super easy to use and prefer it over the site. But regardless, SeatGeek's going to have everything you need on there. Sports, that's a big one. Obviously, you've got the NFL and college football in full swing, plus the NBA all the way back in action. However, there's also concerts, comedians, festivals, basically you name it, it's most likely on there for you on SeatGeek. They have your back as well, with each ticket being rated on a scale of 1 to 10, so you know you're getting a good deal. Just look for the green dots, okay? Green means good, red means bad. It also helps that every ticket is backed by their buyer guarantee, and of course, I got a code for you guys. Just use my code HBTC10 for 10% off your next set of tickets on SeatGeek. That's 10% off with promo code HBTC10 when you buy tickets on the SeatGeek app. Make sure you click the link in the description to download the app and have the code automatically added to your account so you can use it later. Thanks again, SeatGeek. Any concerns when you look at the Chiefs defense going up against the Colts offense?
I think if you're looking at this from the Chiefs' perspective on how to defend this Colts offense, a lot of it is that pre-snap disguise and making sure that Daniel Jones is not getting a clear read. Because for as well as Daniel Jones has played this season, he's not Pat Mahomes. He's not Josh Allen. He's not this super creative quarterback where he can work outside of system, outside at this like elite level. So a lot of what you need to do is just get him off of that first read, get him moving in the pocket, and you have a much better chance for success. And that's what we've seen from the Atlanta Falcons and the Pittsburgh Steelers the last couple of weeks, is really win up front with either trench play or bringing extra people and making sure Daniel Jones doesn't really feel comfortable with where those guys are coming from. That makes him hitch in the pocket. That makes him second guess things. And that has led to some issues for the Colts offense. So if you're the Chiefs, I think that's the plan of attack, is just muddy the box as much as possible, bring up as many people as you can, and then bail into different looks. Bring rushers that, if you're going to show 7, bring 4. If you're going to show 8, bring 3, but make sure they have no clue which guys you're bringing. And Spags has always been so good at doing stuff like that. He was really ahead of the curve before Brian Flores kind of took it and ran with it over there in Minnesota and became the guy for that. But Spags has always been very good with that stuff. So I think there are some things the Chiefs can do. I just think the most important thing, though, for the Chiefs is to go back to kind of what you said with Tyler Warren. The Colts use him in such a unique way where he is not like this. It's not like Travis Kelce where you just put him out there in the slot and say, like, try to cover him one-on-one. You can't cover this guy ISO one-on-one because like Travis Kelce has always been so great at that. He's got the basketball feet and just so good at just Euro stepping and getting open. Tyler Warren's not really that guy. He's not a guy that you put on an island or put in isolation. What they do is they go under center or they do like these pistol type looks, and they will use play action, sell the blocking with Tyler Warren, and then leak him into the flats or leak him across the formation and really test the eyes of linebackers. That is the most important thing for this Colts offense on early downs, is we are going to generate easy run after catch opportunities for our John Riggins inspired tight end that we have here in Tyler Warren, and we're going to get him in space and let him go. And they test the hell out of your linebackers, man. If your linebackers are not communicating well, if they don't have good eyes in the run game, they're going to attack you all day long with Tyler Warren. And that's where they really killed like the Chargers, for instance. The Chargers were just running in circles back there in that game where the Colts put up 38 without breaking a sweat. So yeah, that's going to be the biggest concern, I think, for the Chiefs. I think there are ways they can get to them. They have to win on early down so they can get into those like 3rd and 8 situations to where Spags can mix and match. But if the Colts are getting into like 3rd and 3, 3rd and 2 situations with how they like to run their offense and have those linebackers guessing if a run or a pass is coming, then I think the Chiefs are going to be in a little bit of a hell. So kind of the key really for this, for the Chiefs and the Colts, is like winning on 1st and 2nd down on either side of the ball. Like, again, 3rd and 3 versus 3rd and 8 is going to be massive in this showing.
When you were talking about under center play action in these downs where is it run, is it pass, you have the threat of Jonathan Taylor, and then you have all these weapons, and then Tyler Warren just balling out. I looked down and just stared at the floor for a second, because that's where the Chiefs defense has really struggled this year, is defending play action from under center. They're overbiting and they're getting fooled. Now, hopefully they just have their best game of the year this Sunday. It's kind of a do or die. It's not a do or die game, but it's one of these games where if the Chiefs go to 5-6, you either win out and then hope some of these other teams in the AFC fold in a couple games that they probably should win to sneak into the wild card round. So that's what you're looking at if you lose. If you win, I think your wild card hopes are still plenty alive, but this is a big, important game. And when you look at just how you guys operate as an offense, there are several weaknesses there that the Chiefs have at least showed chinks in the armor, if you will, all season long from all of that. I will say this, they've done a pretty good job most of the year of limiting teams' run games. If you look at a lot of their stats and metrics, you would say, oh, they're not really good against the run. They have been decent, though, of not letting somebody like Jonathan Taylor go for 83 yards and a touchdown. Not saying he couldn't, but that's, I think, a big key in this one is like, okay, can you limit the explosives? And then when you were talking about the early downs and 3rd and short, something that the Chiefs have still been vulnerable to, and something, even what you said about trying to get Daniel Jones off his first read. It's like, well, that was kind of Bo Nix, and he was fine because the pass rush has struggled a lot this season. And then 3rd and longs, no problem. 3rd and 15 on the final drive, game on the line, 20 yards to Cortland Sutton because the Chiefs rush 3 and have a spy. They have given up, so 4 times this season, the Chiefs defense in the 4th quarter have given up a 3rd and 10 plus. And it's been a big issue where they hadn't done that, I don't think, at all the last 2 years prior, specifically near the end of the 4th quarter and like gotta have it situations. So the offense is going to be a problem for sure. That's where you guys are humming. Let's talk about your defense. How are you feeling about that side of the ball? Because I know there are some injuries there, enough that you went and pulled the trigger on Sauce Gardner. And I kind of wish the trade deadline was either later or we played y'all when you first got him or something, because now he's got a game under his belt and the bye week to specifically, in theory, try to game plan against the Kansas City Chiefs and their offense. Hey, real quick, if you're enjoying Zach's level-headed analysis of his team, make sure to check out his work this week, especially leading up to the game via Locked On Colts, his own YouTube channel, or via Colts on SI, where he is the lead analyst there. Link to all of those are in the description and pinned comment below.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to project what this Colts defense is going to look like the rest of the year, because so much of the numbers that we've seen accumulated against this Colts defense has, one, been poor offenses, so it's kind of hard to take for credit how good this Colts defense is or if they're frauds or not. But a lot of it has come with like practice squad eligible like corners out there. With Mekhi Blackman's been their number 1 guy all year. Undrafted free agent Jonathan Edwards has been their number 2 for a lot of the year. Cameron Mitchell, a guy they signed off the Browns practice squad, has been a guy mixed in there at number 2. And you guys, unfortunately, might be getting them with both Sauce Gardner and Mooney Ward on the outside. And with the Colts defensive coordinator being a guy who has had success against Mahomes in the past, and Lou Anarumo, one of the few guys that could actually beat them in the playoffs in Mahomes' career. So I do think this is going to be a fascinating matchup. Now, the Colts are a bit vulnerable up front without DeForest Buckner. DeForest Buckner is so key to everything that's going on, especially in run defense. So, you know, again, this kind of goes to like my Colts kind of having a bit of an advantage here is like if a team can run the ball exceptionally well, I think they have a good chance against this Colts team. But will the Chiefs come out and commit to the run? The Chiefs are one of the few teams that, from what I've seen, they do a lot of RPO stuff still. And a lot of the league is kind of pulling away from the RPO game because teams have gotten so much better at defending it. And we're seeing that Mahomes is pulling a lot of those RPOs to throw it, which, again, against this Colts team, you probably want to run the ball a little bit without DeForest Buckner, Neville Gallimore, Adetomiwa Adebawore, good pass rushers, not the best run defenders. That's probably where they're vulnerable. But in the pass defense, I'm just pumped to see this secondary. I mean, Sauce Gardner, Mooney Ward, if he's back this week, Kenny Moore in the slot, a former Pro Bowler, Cameron Bynum over the top, who could be a Pro Bowler this year. It's a really, really good secondary. And kind of to what we were just saying with the other matchup on the other side of the ball, if you're getting into these passing situations against this Colts defense, they're going to play man coverage across the board. They're going to dare your receivers to beat them one-on-one with Gardner and with Mooney out there. And they're going to bring 6-7 guys up in the box, and they're going to show different pressures. They're going to get your offensive lineman looking one way and blitz the other way. Lou has been fantastic with his sim pressures this year and when he's bailing and who's coming. And that's how they were able to generate so much pressure against the Falcons this past week as well in the last game we saw them play. So just having one top corner on the field, the Colts defense has been phenomenal this year, but I can't imagine what it's going to look like with both of these guys out there. So it might be like the worst time to be catching this Colts defense with both of those guys being healthy. Again, if Mooney Ward is able to play this week, we don't know for sure. It's trending like it will, but we'll see. But yeah, this Colts defense, I think if they get both those guys out there, they're going to be a tough out in pass coverage because I just don't know, like, which corner do you throw at? You throw at Sauce Gardner, you throw at Mooney Ward, throw at Kenny Moore in the slot, who's probably the best playmaker. It's a tough defense to kind of crack when they have all those bodies in the secondary.
A big key for the Chiefs offense, it's kind of what you just said on the opposite side of the ball. They've got to get to these third and manageables against the Broncos. 9 of their third downs were 7 or more. So 3rd and 7 plus, but their average was 3rd and 12 on those 3rd and longs. That's like just unsustainable, even with Patrick Mahomes back there. It's been tough sledding. I'll just say that. So to get to these 3rd and shorts is going to be a big key in this one. And I just want to clarify for anybody who is hearing Mooney Ward. That's Charvarius Ward, the former Chief. Yeah. And man, his story's just kind of been crazy with, I know he had a big loss. I think it was one of his kids last season or 2 seasons ago. He wanted a fresh start. And I'm glad to see that he got the fresh start with you guys. But he got injured pregame. He run into a collision pregame with his own teammate and got concussed and had to go on to IR because of that. His window to return is open, and is he trending? I know it's early in the week, but he's trending to be playing from what it sounds like you're saying.
Yeah, so what happened basically is he got a concussion in week 1 against the Miami Dolphins, which led to him missing the 2nd week against the Denver Broncos. He came back after that, played a couple weeks, got his 2nd concussion of the year in that really freak accident. And the Colts, I think he probably could have been back within 3 weeks from that, but the Colts wanted to play it safe, with so much research into concussion data now that we see around the NFL. They just want to play it safe. So they put him on IR to give him the full recovery. He's actually had 5 weeks to recover now because this 4th week was the Atlanta Falcons game. So he had 5 weeks to recover. So unless this is like a really abnormal concussion, like he's got like big issues with it, I don't imagine him not playing this week. Sure. I really think they just gave him just the extra rest because it was the 2nd concussion. But yeah, the Colts missing him was kind of brutal. Luckily, they were still winning games because of who they were going against, and they were able to get these big leads on offense. But he was, if you go to Sumer Sports, he was like their quarter mark season, like all pro, like first team corner to start the year. He was playing some fantastic football and was doing some great things. It's just, he has barely played this year. He's only played 4 games for the Colts. So only 5 of their 10 games, they've had like a true cornerback 1 out there. And the other 5 games have had Mekhi Blackman, who was a cast off from the Vikings this offseason, being their number 1 corner. So yeah, this Colts defense, it is hard to get a gauge on them because we don't know what they look like with their full arsenal back there. But yeah, it does seem like Mooney Ward, Charvarius Ward. I call him Mooney because that's what he seems to want to go by. So I try to correct myself to say it as much as possible. But yeah, Mooney Ward and Sauce Gardner should both be out there this week if I was a betting man and put money on that.
I am happy for him. I don't really want him to ball out this week. But I'm always rooting, for the most part, for former Chiefs players, and unless they are playing against the Kansas City Chiefs. You also had, I don't know if I think it was the same game, maybe, but Anthony Richardson fractured his orbital bone pregame. Like, there's some pregame craziness going on with y'all. Either way, we don't need to go down that rabbit trail, but there is something else you said about the defense. They're susceptible against the run. Well, if you're going to be fine because they're not going to run the ball. They're going to try it a little bit. I will say, you mentioned the RPOs. Mahomes had positive RPOs, like 5 of 6 of them that they did last week. It was actually pretty successful, but you're still looking at a 40-ish passes to 14 runs, 13 to Kareem Hunt. They don't seem to trust Brashard Smith to run between the tackles. Elijah Mitchell was out there. His first play helped contribute to an illegal formation or something like that. Just he's not played. He doesn't have any playing time. They've had him as a healthy scratch all season long. So I don't have a lot of confidence in the run game. I will say a couple things that help me, at least my confidence level, go up a little bit against the Colts is the fact that the Chiefs are playing at home. They've played much better at home this year when compared to on the road, even specifically from like a discipline standpoint. 3 of their losses this year have been on the road. They've had 10 or more penalties. And they are the 3rd most flagged team on the road, the 4th fewest flagged team at home. So there's a little bit of confidence there. How are you kind of just feeling about this game at Arrowhead, knowing what's at stake for the Chiefs, where it's like, it's probably playoffs on the line or close to it, where the Colts, they're looking at it and they're like, well, you probably don't want the Chiefs to sneak in, and because you guys are probably winning your division, you have most likely, and then you have a huge chance of getting one of the top seeds right now. I would assume you don't care to play the Chiefs in the playoffs if they sneak in, where you guys are looking at this game, hey, if we can beat the Chiefs here, we might not have to see them at all. Is that kind of the mindset there, or how are you kind of viewing this game as they get ready to travel to Arrowhead this week?
Yeah, I think this game is more so just a measuring stick game for the Colts. Like, how real are you? Like, they have won games against the Denver Broncos. They won a game against the Los Angeles Chargers. They went toe-to-toe with the Rams. Like, we know this Colts team is a good football team, but it's something different when you beat a team like the Chiefs. You know, I know the Chiefs are 5-5. It's not a real 5-5. They're a good football team. And I don't care. They could be winless this year. And as long as they have 15 at quarterback, you're going against a good football team. It's kind of like a measuring stick game. And I think that's the problem that the Chiefs have faced a lot this year, is every team views the Chiefs as that measuring stick game. We're like, how good are we? We have to bring our best football against the Chiefs. But I do think a lot of Colts fans are kind of underrating how difficult a matchup this is. This Chiefs team, despite the record and despite the issues and despite the imperfections with them, they are a team that's been at the Super Bowl the last, 3 years? They've been there almost every year of Pat Mahomes' career at this point. Now they're fighting for their lives at home. And even if their whole roster doesn't have that championship DNA, their core pieces do. They know how to win games. They know how to get into the playoffs. So you're going to get their best shot at home. And the Colts have had their issues on the road. And to go to your point about penalties, I think a lot of the penalty discrepancy with road teams versus home teams is just the pre-snap penalties, where in your home environment, you kind of control the noise, you control everything that's going on. You're more comfortable there. You don't get the offensive linemen lining up in the backfield calls, the illegal formation calls. You don't get those as much at home, whereas on the road, things are a little bit sloppier. And it's key to win on the road when things are a bit sloppier. So I think this is going to be a tough team, a tough game for the Colts. I'm definitely not overlooking this Chiefs team by any means. The Colts have the ingredients to win this game for sure. Lou Anarumo knows how to play Pat Mahomes and Andy Reid. He knows how to call games against them. And now he's equipped with 2 top-tier corners, 2 arguably top 10 corners in football on the outside. So it frees him up to bring a lot of pressure, bring a lot of diversity and looks. And I'm sure we'll see a lot of that drop 8 stuff that really worked a couple years ago for them too against Mahomes and Reed. And the Colts offense, as long as they don't turn the football over, I think they can put up some points. But it's not going to be an easy test by any means. Like, the Chiefs are a good, tough football team. They've had a lot of bad luck this year to what their average margin of victory in wins is like 20 points, and like in losses it's like 4 points. Like, that tells you that this is a good team that's just on the bad side of luck right now. Definitely don't want to overlook them. Think they can certainly beat the Colts, but Colts, just play your football game. You're 8-win team for a reason. Come in there and have some confidence and really get ready for this game. But I think it's going to be a playoff environment for both of these teams for sure.
Yeah, I know a lot of teams, they use the Chiefs as like a litmus test to kind of see where they are. I do think overall you guys probably have a little less pressure. Of course, you want to come in, you want to win. You're like, we want to show everybody that we're the real deal. It's not like some fluke thing. But the Chiefs are literally back up against the wall. They're on the ropes here. And so it's going to be a very interesting game. I think the Chiefs have a chance to win, but I've been saying that every single week. And they have. It's just like all these little stupid self-inflicted wounds, illegal formation on Jawan Taylor, special teams penalties. They've got to clean that up because against a team as good as the Colts, and to add to your point, Lou Anarumo, Chiefs fans are very familiar with that name. He is a fantastic defensive coordinator, was the scapegoat in Cincinnati. If you didn't believe it then, you believe it now when you look at their defense. I didn't understand them letting him go, but I am happy that he's just kind of with an organization that's more successful. Don't wish success this week. The other thing I'll note about the Colts, they are the Chiefs' kryptonite over the years. One of my favorite, at least in the first half, was the big Andrew Luck game where the Chiefs were up by whatever that was, 27 points. Me, my dad, my brothers were all laughing, happy at halftime, eating food, and then they end up losing that game. It's just like time and time again to this team, they just give me some bad memories over the years. We'll just put it that way. Hopefully for the Chiefs, they end this game with a W that's really much needed. I know you're hoping the same for your team as well, man. But I really appreciate your time and jumping on. It's much respect. I think what Shane Steichen has done over there has been awesome to see. And then getting Lou Anarumo, that's probably the best thing you guys could have done for your defense. And it's just his first year there. I feel like it's only up from here for your team. I would assume when you give up those draft picks for Sauce, you're saying, hey, Daniel Jones is the guy for years to come. Are you expecting him to kind of be the face of the org? Well, Jonathan Taylor is, but the QB1 of the org for over the next couple years?
Yeah, for sure. I think the Colts are really committed to this 2-year window for sure of this season and next season. That's when Sauce Gardner is only costing the Colts $10 million total over the course of the season and next season. So they really have this opportunity to re-sign Daniel Jones, bring back Alec Pierce, and then just kind of really go for it this year and next year. And then even as they retool after that, you still have Daniel Jones, you still have a couple players here, maybe cut some of like the 30-something-year-old guys and have another chance with Gardner and some other players. But yeah, they're committed to winning this thing. I mean, it's not very often you're an 8-2 team. And, when you have a chance, especially in a year where, the Chiefs are fighting for their lives, the Bills look vulnerable, the Ravens are fighting for their lives right now. Like, you might not ever have a chance like this again. And we see how much things change from year to year. Look at the Commanders out in the NFC. From last year, they were a top 4 team, to this year, they look like a dreadful team going forward. And like, they're old and just not ready for it. Like, you have to take advantage of your opportunities. So I do respect the Colts from that perspective of like, you know what, let's go for this thing this year while we have a chance. We'll see how it ends up. Again, I think Daniel Jones has played great this year. I don't know if it's going to be enough to win in the playoffs, especially if a team like the Chiefs make it, because Pat Mahomes he's like the boogeyman of the league at this point.
Are you a score predictions guy? If so, you want to give one. It's early in the week, but if you had to put some money down, what are you I think the Chiefs are slight favorites.
Oh man, I hate the feeling of this game because I was rooting for the Chiefs to win this past game, because then I was like, cool, the Colts will have a decent chance of winning if the Chiefs beat the Broncos. That'd be an emotional divisional win on the road, and they have some leeway to make the playoffs still. They might drop one at home the next week. But now that their backs are against the wall, it's very difficult for me. I still have to pick the Colts because it's just been such a fun, positive season. But I think this is going to be a nail biter. I'll go like 27-24. I think it'll come down to the wire. And we're just going to lean into the Chiefs' inability to win one-score games this year, I guess, is what we're going to lean into with that prediction.
How about those Chiefs?